Today we're gonna make a lentil lasagna that's going to change your life. We're gonna start off getting our onions on our pan and get them nice and translucent, cook them over a medium heat for about 8 to 10 minutes. So we're gonna be using brown lentils today. They really hold up better than a green or a yellow lentil, and they take about 25 minutes to cook. It's a 3-to-1 ratio, so 1 cup of lentils, 3 cups of broth or water, and let that simmer for about 15-20 minutes. Then you're gonna have your onions turning translucent over medium heat. Once your lentils are done, you're going to then add them back to your onions. And this is only a cup of lentils, so they really go a long way. And this is all the protein you need in your whole dish. You really don't miss the meat at all when you have this lentils all really seasoned up beautifully. So you wanna let that all kind of get stirred in together. So this recipe is by one of my favorite plant-based zero-waste chefs, Max Lamana. I'm doing it a little bit differently. He uses walnuts. I'm gonna use roasted shiitake mushrooms to give it that extra nutty, robust flavor. So you're going to roast up your shiitake mushrooms. I'm not a big fan of sauteing your mushrooms, so definitely put them in the oven, give them a roast at 400 for about 10 minutes. And you're gonna add your mushrooms to your lentil and onion mixture. And this is gonna cook over medium heat for about 5 minutes, let everything sort of simmer together, let the flavors come together. And now one of the really fun parts is we're gonna take half of this mixture out and blend it to give it that sort of meaty consistency when everything comes back together at the end. You're gonna add half of your lentil, mushroom, onion mixture to a blender. Give that a nice little whirl. And then we're gonna add it right back to the other ingredients. Just like that. Add this mixture back in. And now the fun part, now we're gonna spice it up. So this recipe calls for all sorts of really savory herbs, and I like to kick it up a notch and go a little extra. So everything's to taste, but you definitely wanna start with some Italian seasoning and make sure you get everything really covered. This is what makes your lentils taste like a meat. Throw in a little bit of oregano ground. We'll throw in some of our garlic paste. You already know I do not chop garlic anymore, so we're using our garlic paste. That goes right in as well. And everything's still kind of simmering over medium heat. You're gonna go in with a 1/4 cup of tomato paste. Max doesn't use coconut aminos, but I like a little extra layer of salt without using actual salt. So this is just a little extra kick and a little more liquid for your lentils to soak up. For your tomato sauce, you wanna make sure that it's enough to soak and coat all of the ingredients. You're gonna add your lasagna noodles and make sure that the sauce is gonna coat them as well. We'll start with about 1/4 of our marinara sauce. This is an organic one, got a little extra garlic in it. Let that all come together. Let those spices you put in all find each other. Then pasta time. So these are already cooked. This is like a phenomenon that always fascinates me. You do not have to boil these noodles. They go right in the sauce and they cook in like 10 minutes. It's like no bake, could not be easier. I've made this recipe, no joke, 4 times in the last month. My husband and I eat this up. It stays great for leftovers and it's totally plant-based. One trial and error tip I have for you, do not crack your lasagna noodles over your pasta because they will totally splinter. So I do them over the sink, get them the sizes that I want, and then drop them into the sauce to soften. See what I mean? So these size pieces are good, and these will just really soak up all those flavors, all that tomato sauce. And I will do the whole pack because this will go for a couple of days. Now it is extra sauce time, so we're gonna kick it up and add a little more of our marinara sauce. And one thing to keep in mind is the more sauce you add, the more seasoning you wanna add. And then I'm from Miami, so there's no recipe I make that does not consist of at least some adobo. So we're gonna kick it up with a little adobo on top. Okay, we're gonna make sure these noodles are nice and covered, and then we're going to cover this bad boy up, a little bit more sauce. Yeah, and you really end up kind of using the whole thing if you're gonna make the entire pack of noodles. And now for creaminess, keeping this plant-based, we're gonna use cashew milk. It's a little bit heavier, a little thicker than an almond milk, and it really gives you that cheese-like consistency to bring everything and hold it together. So it's about 1/4 cup of cashew milk. So now our noodles are covered in the sauce, they're soaking up all that flavor, the lentils are cooking down, and we have about 10 minutes before this is ready, so I'm gonna have my wine. All right, this has been sitting for about 10 minutes. Hopefully all of our sauce is soaked up in our noodles, and it is ready to go. Oh yeah. Give it one more little toss. Our noodles are softened. Those mushrooms that are still in there. Half of our mushrooms are blended up and the other half are still in their regular form. So they're roasted, you get that texture of the chewy, nutty mushrooms and then the flavor of the mushrooms all creamy throughout. It is such a layered dish that's so simple. It seems like you took a long time to make it, but this was like 10 minutes. Literally, it's 10 minutes. Oh my God, this is gonna be so good. So tasty. So much protein, all plant-based. And then we'll keep it totally plant-based with a plant-based Parmesan cheese right over top. And then because we're fancy, you need a little basil. And the final taste test. This was 10 minutes really top to bottom. 10 minutes of prep work, 10 minutes of cooking, and you have a meal that's gonna last you a solid 2 days. So this is a no-lose, all-win meal. Yeah, so right. You don't miss the meat. The way that the lentils are blended with the mushrooms, it comes together, it literally tastes like there's ground beef in your lasagna. It is totally plant-based, 10 minutes prep time, 10 minutes on the stove, and you are done. I've literally made this recipe 4 times in the last month. It's going to be a staple in your house, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we do.